Hi guys, and welcome to the makeshift studio here again. I'm sorry for the slight Dutch angle, we're being dramatic today. Sorry, the camera setup is really unprofessional, but maybe you guys can forgive me. Today's video is about antipsychotic medication and my experience on it, now that I've been on it for a longer time. I started my antipsychotic medication in July, I think. Yeah, July. And we had to switch medications because the first antipsychotic they tried on me was not working for me. I was on aripiprazole, and that's a really popular antipsychotic because it does not make you gain weight and it does not sedate you as much as usually all the other antipsychotics, but unfortunately it wasn't good for me, and now I'm on olanzapine, aka Zyprexa. So, disclaimer, the reason I am on antipsychotic is because I got diagnosed with bipolar 1, and if you don't know, bipolar is a illness where you basically have these phases in your life, these seasons of depression alternating with mania or hypomania, or you have a mixed state somewhere between, and you might even have like normal balanced type of seasons in your life, but they kind of switch, and the idea is to kind of like lessen the switches on the medication. So they're trying to balance you, harmonize your life a little bit with that antipsychotic medication. And I did not have antipsychotic medication, and I had beforehand, like they thought I was only depressed, but it turns out I've had bipolar all this time, but I just never went to mania before. And in this 2023 summer, I actually experienced my first kind of like full-blown mania. And that's when they diagnosed me again with bipolar type 1. So that's kind of my background, okay? And if you guys know, like, bipolar 1 is never supposed to be only treated with depression medication, because usually the SSRIs cause mania, okay? So in my case, they thought that my use of only the SSRI might have triggered the mania that I had. And how they kind of came to the conclusion of me having mania was that I did not sleep for 5 days, and it was really scary. I went to doctors myself. I was like, I'm not sleeping and I'm feeling really weird. My thoughts are racing. I remember having like really high pulse all the time. Like my heart was racing all the time. I felt like I could not like focus on anything. I had like several thoughts at the same time. Like I remember my head feeling like basically like a bee's nest or something, like this constant grinding all the time, and my thoughts were going real quickly, and I had difficulty kind of like focusing on anything that anyone said or did. And I also started to have these kind of like tiny hallucinations where I almost saw something from the corner of my eye, like a shadow person or something going, and when I turned around, there was nothing there. And I knew that those were hallucinations, and I think they were caused by me not sleeping. So I wasn't psychotic, but I was kind of on the verge of tipping over to psychosis. And that's when they started me on olanzapine, because olanzapine is a really good medication for kind of like getting rid of that mania and making the person sleep. So I got that prescribed to me as a kind of like mania anti-medication, okay? So they put me on that, and then after that they changed it to aripiprazole, and unfortunately that one didn't work for me. So we switched back to olanzapine. And now I've been on olanzapine for these past months, and I'm gonna tell you guys a little bit about that. So basically, eating any or like using any antipsychotic is kind of a balancing act, okay? So it's kind of a balancing act because the medications have a lot of side effects, okay? These are not like, they're pretty heavy-duty medications, but they're for heavy-duty problems. Like mania is no small thing, it's really scary, and the fact that person can kind of go psychotic or go off the rails a little bit, you know, like spending too much money, getting into problems, things like that. None of that luckily happened to me, but that's kind of on the stake here. So you need a heavy-duty medication to kind of like combat something as serious as mania and really bad depression. So that's what you got on the other hand. And on the other hand, you have kind of that fact that antipsychotics have a lot of side effects. And yes, mine has a lot of side effects, okay. I was originally on a higher dose on olanzapine, and the main problems that it kind of gives you is sexual dysfunction, the kind of like loss of libido, weight gain, feeling numb. That's a really big one on antipsychotics. They kind of make you feel numb a little bit, especially on higher dosages. So that's a really common one. They also sedate you, so you're kind of tired all the time, a little bit, and unmotivated to do things, okay? Especially olanzapine is known for the sedative effect of it, and that has something to do with the blocking of antihistamines in your body, I think. But for me personally, like, I noticed that I had a lot of side effects when I was on a higher dosage. And my dosage was okay for summertime, because for summertime, like, I'm usually more hypomanic, like my thoughts are racing and I'm super energetic and things. And then when autumn and winter comes, like, I fall down, like I have a depressive episode. And this has been going on for a longer time. I just never knew it was bipolar. So it's kind of like seasonal affective / bipolar type of situation that I got going on. But yeah, so when we went to autumn, like, I noticed that my medication was too high, okay, because I was not as hypomanic as I used to be. So they had to lessen the dosage a little bit, because I was like honestly sleeping all the time. Like, there was 2 weeks when I just slept and like gained weight, and I couldn't find any motivation to go see my friends or do any like sports or anything. I was just like really lethargic and unmotivated to do anything, and I felt really numb. And that's when they lessened my medication amount a little bit, so they dropped the dosage, and now I'm actually feeling pretty much okay. But the thing that I have to say about antipsychotics is that because they have so many side effects, like even now I still have some side effects, okay? Like the biggest ones that I've noticed is kind of like losing hair, okay? Like my hair has thinned a lot, and that's something to do with the antipsychotics, I think. I'm gaining weight, which is like, it has slowed down a little bit now that I'm kind of more used to the fact that it kind of makes my appetite way worse. Like the food is like the thing that kind of gets me going right now, and I need to be really mindful because I'm never full. Like, I can't feel full on this medication. So if somebody were to give me 10 pizzas, I would probably eat 10 pizzas, okay? So I need to be like real mindful about my eating habits, and it's been hard, okay? So I've gained some weight, and that's like the main side effect of Zyprexa. So yeah, I've gained weight, but it's kind of still minimal. Like, I don't feel bad about it anymore. I used to feel bad about it in the beginning, but now I'm like, okay, but it does kind of help me also. Like, this is the fact that I want to kind of like hammer home, okay? Like there are a lot of side effects, but it's a balancing act. Like when we are in a like good place with the medication, antipsychotics, it's like you have some side effects, like that can't be avoided. It's not realistic to expect no side effects on this medication because they just have side effects. But the kind of thing you wanna have is like very little side effects, good dosage, and all the benefits, okay? And now I'm gonna get into the benefits. So we already covered the side effects, now let's talk about the benefits, okay? So yeah, I told you guys that I feel a little bit numb and I feel a little unmotivated. That's true, but also the good thing about this medication is that it really helps me with focusing, okay? My mind is way calmer on this medication than it has ever been in my whole life, okay? Like I feel like I can really easily focus on just one thing, and I feel like my attention span is way longer now. I can study way easier, I can do my work way easier. My mind isn't like traveling to places all the time like it used to. Also, I feel like I'm way calmer in situations and less impulsive. I have stopped shopping, which is crazy. Like I used to have a shopping problem, and now I'm really mindful about my money because I'm less impulsive on this medication. I also don't lose my temper as easily as I used to before my antipsychotic medication. And it's not like I was a real gangster back then, no, but I do feel like I kind of lost my temper way easier. And now I'm kind of like less bothered by things on this medication, which is so much easier for my actual life, okay? Like I really love the fact that I feel less stressed on this medication altogether. And I think the main reason is because my body is way calmer, because this medication sedates me a little bit. But you have to think the fact that I'm hypomanic most of the times, or like mixed episode type. So my body is grinding itself to bits without medication. Like it's overhyped, overheightened, over like working all the time, and my mind too, without the medication. And when we introduced the antipsychotics to the mix, my nervous system calmed down, my body calmed down, my pulse is really low nowadays, which is good, and I feel less on the edge all the time. So what that has kind of made me feel is way more centered, way more calm. I feel like I have way more control over my life, and I feel like that's a great thing, honestly. I feel less stressed. I feel like even though I'm unmotivated most of the times to, for example, do any like sports or things, I feel like I've been able to like clean my house better, do my tasks better. Kind of like doing the small things has become way easier on this medication, because my attention span isn't as small as it used to be. So it's kind of like I lost some motivation to do some things, and I lost some kind of like high feelings, but I gained control and I gained kind of like harmony. So that's kind of like the good thing about it. And I must say that another thing that's really important on these antipsychotics is to find the right medication that helps you, where you have lesser side effects, like as little side effects as possible, and also finding the right dosage. Because to me, when I have too much of this medication, it does make me feel depressed, okay? Like that's the bad thing. But when I'm on the perfect dosage, it really helps me. So it's kind of like a balancing act in all these ways. And it's not easy, I must say. I've cried throughout this whole process, and I've almost lost hope at some point when the dosage wasn't right and I wasn't feeling the best. And like, that is part of the process, okay? Just trust and hope, and have this hope for better tomorrow, when they're trying to find the right balance, because honestly, once they hit the nail on the head with the medication, your life gets a lot easier. And I can promise that, okay? Like, that's what happened to me. So that's my experience, that when you just kind of like tough it out, it starts to get better. So yeah, do I have side effects? Yeah, I do. But it's kind of like at this moment, the kind of like good sides are outweighing the side effects. And I must say that in the beginning, I honestly felt like, is it worth it? Like, there's this part of you that's kind of like thinking, oh, is it worth it to take medication that has these risks and has these kind of like side effects? And it's super normal, okay? Normalize that. It's part of the process. Like, you go through this, do I want to like quit my medication? Should I not? And that's kind of like something that happens to everyone who's on antipsychotics. And it's kind of a process to get used to the new you also, which is something that nobody kind of told me about, okay? I wish somebody had told me that it's gonna be a kind of a crisis when your brain chemistry alters and you become different a little bit. Personally, I found it really unnerving when my mind calmed down. I actually had a small crisis about it. Like, when my mind was not grinding 10,000 miles per hour, I actually felt not myself. And that was the scariest part of the medication, before I got used to the calmer me, okay? Like, I honestly cried, I was scared, I felt like I was turning into a zombie. I was really, really scared of like losing the actual real me, but it turns out that I'm actually real me still. I'm just a calmer version of that real me. And it just took that kind of like little bit of a crisis to get there, okay? And that's why I'm saying, like, don't care about what anybody else says, okay? Just kind of like, if you are prescribed antipsychotics, this is my opinion, okay? I'm not a doctor. This is my personal opinion. But just weigh the kind of like benefits and the kind of like side effects and see where you land on that, okay? And if it seems like it's not benefiting you enough, talk about it with your doctor, okay? Because they can switch medications, they can switch the dosage, and then it might become a better situation, okay? Like, that's what we did, and that's what worked. So I'm kind of telling you guys, like, really trust yourself, but also keep an open mind, because it might just be that you are in the process of kind of like finding the right dosage and the right medication. And that can be real hard, and it can be really discouraging when you have like that that time when they're not finding the right dosage and they're not finding the right medication right then and there. Like, it can be real stressful. I'm the first one to say I was really mad at some point, and I was really sad at some point, and I was really, really hopeless at some point. And that's part of the process, okay? But don't quit, okay? Like, that's kind of my thing. Like, don't quit willy-nilly, and don't be afraid of like trying out the medication, because it might actually make your life better. And like, I feel like at the end of the day, even though I have some problems with my libido, I've gained some weight, I still feel like the kind of like good sides are better than that side effect. Like, I feel like it's still helping me so much that I still feel like I've won some on this battle, okay? And yeah, the kind of feeling of like that harmony and peace that you have with your mind when you're bipolar and you're medicated right, like, that is kind of really big. It's a big thing, okay? And yeah, I hope I helped you guys with this video, and this was just my experience. And again, I have to say that I'm not a doctor. This is just my own experience. I'm not a professional in this field, and this is just my kind of like opinion and feelings and experiences about my antipsychotic medications. And yeah, I hope you guys like this video, and I see you guys in my next one. Bye!